I don't know how to put people into.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the view, the gallery view. There we go. Oh, okay, there we go. Now I can see who's here. All right. So I don't know who you want to go first, Fran?
If you want me to, I don't care. I'm good. I'm easy.
Or go ahead. You can start.
I can start. Okay. Actually, I prefer starting because I don't want to go after you.
Come on.
All right.
All good. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. So Nadia had approached me asking me if there was a way that her and I can do kind of a team or together training call about how we do it. Because one thing that popped out or that stood out between her and I is that she is a very morning person and she gets a lot done in the morning, and I am more of a night owl. I get stuff done at night, and that's a big difference between the two of us. Yet we both have a lot of things in common. We're both teachers, we're both moms. We do a lot of the same activities. Our girls are in sports, and so on and so forth. And both of us were able to have a successful side business, being her, Nadia being a Zaya executive and myself being an executive. So we did manage and we did succeed. And so people ask us, well, how did you do it? And I often get how do you do it, Fran? Like, how do you do this? Because I am busy. I'm not gonna lie. I have a pretty busy life. So as you know, I am a teacher. I'm married to my husband, my high school sweetheart, actually, who himself owns, well, I say he, but we, whatever, own two local businesses as well. And so he is extremely busy, and often he is gone in the mornings. And so I'm solo in the morning with my three girls. And that's part of why I'm better at night than I am in the morning. But anyways, so I decided I was going to kind of go through my daily routine and what I do in a day, just to give you guys like, okay, this is what she does and how she pockets her stuff into her day. So I kind of tried to write things down, because when Nadia asked me like, well, how do you do it? I really had to sit down and like, how do I do it? What do I do? And I kind of tried to jot things down of like what works for me. And this is what I came up with. So for my daily routine, so in the morning, like I said, I'm not a morning person. So I get up later, as late as I can, to make it work and to get my girls and myself out the door. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I will go on my phone and look for any kind of motivational quotes that will speak to me, and I'll just Google motivational quotes, or I'll go on Instagram or wherever. Sometimes I'll filter through Facebook and I'll go on Dream Team, because usually Nadia will have posted something in there, and I'll look at that and I'll read it out loud. I'll repeat it if I like it, and sometimes I'll share it either in my team group or even on my Facebook profile wall or whatever. And I kind of we'll go through that and I'll read a few, and sometimes I'll save good ones in my phone so that I'll have them for future posts. And then I'll do some of my own personal like affirmations. So I'll talk to myself and tell myself, okay, today is going to be a good day. I'm focused, I'm disciplined, I got this, and kind of just set myself up for a positive and a happy day. Because sometimes if I get up on the wrong foot, then everything can go downhill from there. So I always try and get up and just be like, okay, this is a good day. We're going to be good. I got this. So my morning goes by, girls get up, they get dressed. They're actually like, they've gotten to an age where they can do a lot of things on their own, which is amazing. And that helps enormously. And I've given them a lot more responsibilities. So it helps a lot. So they get dressed, they make their breakfast. I make their lunches as they're eating breakfast. And then we get out the door. So really when I get up in the morning, I don't have time to do any of my business stuff other than just my quick motivational stuff in the morning. I don't do any actual Zaya work in the morning because I'm so busy in the morning. I'm alone at home. Getting the girls out the door is a lot on its own, and getting myself to work. Luckily, I'm not far from work, and it literally takes me 25 seconds to get there in my vehicle. So that's a good thing. And then so throughout the day, So I go to work, and then usually on my like break, I have like a 15-minute little break. I'll take time to check messages, or check off on any, if I have a party going, I'll go in there just to see if anybody commented, kind of engage in there, to see, you know, if there's anything I need to address or to answer questions. And then most of that stuff will have been like already scheduled in. So I'll talk about that a little after when I get to my nighttime routine. But that stuff will have already been scheduled in. So I don't have to be posting anything. I'm literally just taking 15 minutes to engage in some of this of my posts. And then on my lunch break, I will go home, have my quick lunch, and then that's where I'll take some time for myself and do a little bit of personal development. So I will listen. I'll go and see if I missed any lives from Nadia. If there was anything, I'll do a replay on that, or Courtney or whatever. Sometimes I'll search up YouTube to see whatever it is that I need to focus on. If I feel like I'm missing something, like how can I, or if it's about parties, how can I get more parties? What can I do? I'll go do research in like the marketing group, or I'll go find stuff that could help me. Sorry if you can hear the kids downstairs. We're at the cottage and it's just like the sound is coming right up. Anyways, and so I will do stuff to try and better myself. So I'm always learning and trying to grow. And what can I do to better myself? And that's I usually do at lunchtime. And then after work, this is funny. As soon as I'm done work, I leave. I get home. I park in my driveway. And this is where I will take 15, sometimes 20 minutes, and I'll turn off the vehicle. Well, I'll keep it on if it's like minus 20, but it's getting warmer, so I could turn it off. And I will do, this is where I'll take 15 minutes and I'll focus on answering messages. And my kids, like my eldest daughter will probably already be home. And so I don't walk into that door until I do some of my priority stuff. So like what needs to be like, what do I really need to answer? I'll look at my messages. Okay, I have customers who need help with this or that. And I'll take 15 minutes to answer those messages. And then I'll be able to walk into the house, and then I go into mom's. It's like I'm always, I have to try and like, okay, right now I'm doing Zaya. So I'm really focusing on one thing. I'm in my vehicle. This is Zaya time. I have 15 minutes before I go into the house and become mom. So I get that done. I go into the house, and then it's my evening routine. So getting dinner ready. Do we have ringettes? Do we have dance? What do we got to do? Like it's busy, right? My husband, like I said, he's not home. I'm often alone. He works super hard. So I get it done. Whatever it is. And then once my evening is done, after work, one thing, if I do get like some new Zaya gear in, I will I will include my girls when it comes to that. I'll let them open the packages. They get excited. They look at what it is. And then if it's stuff for myself, then I will usually go live after school with the girls. And I include them. So that's one of my tips, is including my family as well, because I want them to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And so they'll get on with me often and be a part of my lives. And I think that really helps with connecting with my VIPs, because a lot of them are moms, even if their kids are the same age as mine, or if they've grown up, they like seeing that interaction that I have with my children, and how sometimes they can be crazy and take over my lives. And people will enjoy that and think it's hilarious, and more people will watch just to see my kids in some of my lives. Or my dog. Actually, my dog is always in my lives, and people actually have sent me messages to tell me that their kids like watching my lives just to watch my dog in the background. So anyways, that's what I do usually after school. And then the tip about including family as well. So I include my husband a lot in my business. And so I always let him know what's going on. And he asks me a lot too. Like he will ask me, how's it going? How's your team doing? How are your sales? What can you do? Like, maybe have you tried this? And he'll give me tips, and I will take them. And then I'll ask him, and I'll interact with him often, especially like when he gets home. We'll talk about his work, my work a little bit, and then we'll put it aside. But he has a lot of good suggestions, and I always take them. So then my day, so once all of our activities are done, my husband is home and we can put the kids to bed. We work together, do our evening routine, girls go to bed. And this is where I get that sense of like, I had an accomplished day. Now I can do me and I can do my business. And I call it, I'm Zaying because often before I used to watch a movie and crochet or knit or things like that. I've put that stuff aside for now. And instead I do my Zaya business and I do everything that needs to be done for the next day or for the week or whatever. And this is where I'll stay up late enough. Like it's just in me. Like I said, I'm a night owl. So I'll stay up till 11:30 midnight sometimes doing my work. So from 9 to 11:30. I mean, there's other things I'll do as well. I'll throw in some laundry and whatever, but I will work on my Zaya business at that time, and that pocket of time is where I'm best at working my business, and that's what works for me. And so other little tips that I wanted to share that I've learned along the way. So I've been a Zaya ambassador for just over a year now. And some of the things that I've learned is one, ask for help. Don't be shy. If ever you see a need, you can reach out to those people. And those people don't always have to be Zaya people. Like I said, I reach out to my husband for some suggestions, some help, because sometimes it's good to get a perspective that a non-Zaya person. I'm not even looking at the messages, Nadia. If you want to read them, if ever there's messages, I'm not reading them. So what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, I'll reach out to my husband or other people like my mom or whoever who's not necessarily in Zaya for advice as well. And that helps because they get a different perspective as well. The other thing, don't sweat the small stuff. I try, and that's one thing like I've learned is just brush it off. Certain things you just need to like brush it off. And that's one thing that I found that I need to brush off sometimes is like if I don't get engagement on a post in one of my parties or in my VIP group, it used to really bother me. And it used to be like, oh my God, like nobody's interacting, nobody's saying anything. Like, why is nobody commenting? And now I just kind of like, it's okay. Now I know that people are watching and it will come and it's okay. And you need to just like, it's all good. We're good. Like, because in the last 2 weeks, I've had at least 3 or 4 people order stuff for me that I had no idea were even in my group. And they're old friends of mine. I'm like, oh, I had no idea you were actually following my group. I did not know. So not everybody is going to comment and engage in your posts, and it's okay. You just stay consistent and you do you, and you just keep going because that's where I've always stayed consistent and it's worked. The other thing, I think I've already said it, but really trying to focus on one thing at a time, like that van moment where I'm like by myself 15 minutes, I'm focusing on one thing and it's messages. And then I try, and I mean, I am squirrely, but I try. I'm like, okay, this 15 minutes is to answer messages and that's it. Because I can easily like, okay, if she asks me a question about something, then I kind of like go on something else. So I kind of try and focus on the one thing at a time. What was the other thing? I said that. Learning from my mistakes as well is a big one. So if you do make a mistake, it's only, you're going to learn from it. And that's one thing. My husband, again, has been really good with me for that, because I've had some moments where I felt like I was a total failure. And then he's like, no, you need to, what happened, and evaluate the situation and what can you do to make it better the next time. And it worked. Like I had a couple in the fall, I had a party that went like, meh, and it was like, it was awful. It just did not, anyways, long story short, I learned from it and now my parties are golden. So it's all good. I feel like.
Okay, there's a question.
Okay, go.
When you're done. Okay, so Cassie.
I think I'm pretty much done.
Oh, you got one more?
I think no, that was about my including the kids. Like I include my eldest as much as I can. Like she will help me do TikTok videos, and help me with taking pictures, taking videos, and now she even wants to do lives. A little bit like Courtney's daughter. She's the same, my eldest, and she will go live if she gets any of gear. So now I'm kind of like always wanting to get her a little something because I know she's gonna want to go live. So like I ordered shorts for her, and some shorts are coming, so she's gonna like pop on there and like check out my shorts, and she does.
Yeah.
She's just super cute. So yeah, that's pretty much the
Yeah,
main
that's
of what
awesome.
I wanted to say.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
so our daughters are the same age. They actually went to daycare together when
Yeah.
I used to live in Timmins. But our I don't know about Mayel, but from what I could tell from the pictures I see of her, but you can even order like some small women's
Yes, and
clothes
I
and
have.
use
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Like the tops
All
not
right.
as much, but the bottoms
Yeah,
I've ordered zeros
depending.
and
Yeah.
twos, and she fits in
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
So
yeah. Isabel wears the same. All right. So the question here was from Cassie. She goes, when do you work in your teaching duties with that? There is not much time left for you to do that. And I'm curious because I'm struggling to manage all that work.
yeah,
So
so like I
teaching, like
said,
you're prepping and stuff, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Is that
because
what you
like
meant,
she said,
Cassie?
at lunch and
oh,
at break she does.
prepping for teaching.
Yeah, because you said at lunch and at your break, and then from like 9:30 to 11:30 you do Zaya. So I legit don't
So
don't know where you'd put the
yeah, one thing for me that's really good this year. So I have I never for my 1 hour like break at school that I will use for teaching prepping. So I'll take that time to prep for my days for the next day or whatever. But to be honest, my job this year, I'm not in an actual classroom this year. So I have spec ed, gym, and cooking. So that is probably a big advantage for me right now. Last year I was in grade 6, and so I had to. It was a little tougher. I won't like to for sure. It was a little tougher when I had a classroom, and so I had to like pocket in that a little more prep time in the evenings for schoolwork as well. But now I'm able to get it done mostly in that 1 hour at school for myself.
Okay. Okay. There's one, but would love to. Okay. So there's another question from Nadine. I often have trouble getting people my age to engage. I am not a mom and I am a teacher, but would love to hear some tips.
Mm.
I'm trying to think.
So trying to think too, right? Because I'm being me, right? With being a mom and whatever. So I think what you need to do is to be you. And if you don't have kids, that's okay. You just need to be yourself. If you do have a lot of people who do have kids, then you can reach out to those people and kind of like see and connect with those people. And like if you follow them in their profile and like if you're friends with them or whatever, and you see pictures of their kids or whatever, you can always like, hey, how did whatever their ringette game go or something, just to engage and be interested in what they're doing in their life. I'm not sure if Nadia has any other ideas on that.
Just I would go to a lot of the engagement that I do is on their profile, not in my VIP group.
Yeah.
It all starts there. As soon as you start engaging on people's profile and making it more about them engaging with you, they will engage back. They may not engage back right away, but I've noticed that like whenever, and it could be anything, is just if you can make some sort of connection, whether you take interest like in their kids or something that they've posted, or you just send them a personal message, say, hey, how's it going? Like, what's new? Like, how's things going since this pandemic started? Like, you just engage. Or if somebody likes, I always like to send them a message thanking them for that, and then kind of getting the conversation started. And always leave your conversation, or even in a post or a message, always ask a question at the end, because that leaves it open and not a yes or no question. You want like a nice open end question so that it kind of gets the conversation flowing. So that's a lot of what I've done with that engagement. And then you'll probably start seeing a little bit more engagement. But at the same time, sometimes the people just they don't engage. There's a lot of, like Fran said, she had orders from people that don't engage in anything, some people just watch. So people are watching all the time. You don't necessarily, like when I first started, I had like no engagement. 2 years ago, holy crap, like there was like no engagement, but people were watching and they would jump in when they felt comfortable. And it just builds. Like as long as you're consistent posting every day and you're serving your community and you're doing posts that are not Zaya related, that, you know, like after a while you kind of know what your community wants. And you can even do polls. I did a poll in my community every so often. What do you want more to see? What do you enjoy seeing? So then I kind of gauge, because, and you can't take any of that personally. If they don't want to see your outfits of the day, well then, you know what, don't give them your outfits of the day every day. Put those into your stories, give them what they want to see, and then the engagement will go up. So you kind of have to take a bit of a gut check on those sort of things. Like especially in a poll, you have to be ready to hear things that you may not want to hear and be okay with it. And don't take it personally. Yes, because that is how you'll definitely get engagement into your VIP group, is through knowing what they want. If you're not serving your community, then they're not going to, you know, engage. I don't want to say engage again. All right. Oh, okay. She said, awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. This is exactly what I needed. Okay. So taking risks. Yes. You got to take risks. You have to take risks. That's the only way to push yourself out of your comfort zone. I still like get nervous reaching out and asking people about the opportunity. But the more you do it and the more that you get used to the no's and be okay with the no's, the easier it gets. You have to rip off that band-aid. Anyways, I'll talk a little bit about that in what I'm done. But you got that it for now, Fran?
I'm good, Nadia.
All right.
J'ai fini.
J'ai fini. There you go. Well, thanks. That was awesome.
Pas je suis fini. J'ai fini.
Oh my God. This is why I need to leave. J'ai fini. Je suis. No, oh my God. I always get them mixed up. All right. Okay. So we're going to get started. So like Fran said, a little bit more background about Fran and I. Fran and I actually worked at Eastside Mario's together. Oh gosh, like 20 years ago or so, or maybe not 20 years ago, because that would have been a long time ago for them. But back when I was in my early 20s, and her and her husband, Mark, the three of us worked together at Eastside Mario's. So that's where we kind of got to know each other, reconnected with our kids, got her at my babysitter's. And then now our kids are the same age. She tried to convince me to have a third child, and I said, no, I was done, because I'm a bit older than Fran, and she's got a young spirit. Well, I've got a young spirit, but she also had that young body, and I was like, yeah, no, not happening. So she has three, I have two girls, but literally our girls, her two oldest, my two girls are the same age. And anyways, we always see each other when I go up in the summer, and eventually they'll come here for a visit. But we do have a lot in common. But like when she did a post a few weeks ago about being a night owl, because she kind of like, you always hear the 5 a.m. club. And she did that post about, she did some research and saying, you know, it's okay to be a night owl. And that was awesome. And I thought this was great. And that kind of got my mind going, saying, you know what, it is okay if you're a night owl. If you can't get up at 5 a.m., don't. If you're not going to be productive at that time of day, don't get up and work at that time of day. You have to work at the time that works for you. So I have 7, I guess I kind of categorize mine as 7 tips, and I'll kind of run through when I do these things during the day. But the first thing I like it doesn't go in an importance, but anyways, I'll just start. Morning routine is huge for me. So I am a morning person. I was like that, always the first person at the sleepovers to wake up and be awake for like 2 hours before other people came up. So I'm a morning person. I get up. So when I get up in the morning, I have 2 non-negotiable things that I do every morning. And that is visualization and my gratitude journal, which includes affirmation. So those are things I do every morning, whether I happen to sleep in a little bit later, because sometimes I do stay up late, or if I don't have a lot of time, because right now I commute just for another few weeks, but which cuts a lot of my time down in the morning. So once I do that, I decide, okay, I'll have in my weekly plan, which I will get to in a second, what else I'm going to do during that time. And by 6:30, 6:45 at the latest, I got to be starting to get ready, and I got to get my girls up. I call it the morning rush, but then I stopped calling it that because it made me feel rushed. So I'm really careful about the vocabulary I use. this, going back to affirmations, really watch the vocabulary that you use, because if you're telling you that you're in a rush, I've got the morning rush, well, then guess what? You're going to feel rushed all the time, right? It's just like saying can't instead of can. And if you say I can't do something, well, then yeah, of course you're going to think that you can't do it. You have to flip it and say that you can. So a little tidbit with affirmations, just and vocabulary. If you're saying things are hard, then yeah, they're going to be hard. So don't say they're hard, say that they're easy. So some of the affirmations that I say in the morning is sales are easy, recruiting is easy, planning is easy, because I was never a planner, and I've been doing it for 2 months, and it's starting to actually get a little bit easier, but I'm nowhere near perfect at it. But these are just things that I feel that are important. So when I do my gratitude, it's also I'm grateful, 5 things from grateful today, and then 5 things I'm grateful for that I do not have yet. So those 5 things that I've been grateful for recently, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I do a lot of PD like every day, and that's number 2. PD is really important, guys. You have to find what works best for you. What works best for me is not going to work best for Fran, not going to work best for Courtney. We can share things, and I share things. Courtney and I share PD. I share with Brianne. I share with Fran. I share with my team. I'll share with you guys if you want. But you have to find what speaks to you. So recently, I've been listening to a lot of Aaron Doughty, and he talks about putting your goals on a pedestal. So those 5 big C goals that I write about every day, when you put them on a pedestal, it means you want it, right? Well, when you want, you're lacking. That means you're lacking something. So instead of putting, and I've heard this analogy and I thought this was so good. Instead of putting your big C goals, and it's okay, you have to have those big C goals on a pedestal, put them in front of you and pretend like you're reaching out for them. And they're like at your fingertips, and you're moving closer and closer every day, and you just keep reaching and reaching, and eventually you will get them. So I thought that was really cool, that instead of, like, they should not be like something on a pedestal, because then that's like, oh my gosh, I'll never get that. Whereas if you put it right in front of you, you're like, yeah, you're a little bit more driven to kind of go for that. So anyways, PD. So we'll go to number 2, which is PD. I do personal and professional. Some days I do more personal, some days I do more professional. It just depends on how I'm feeling, which is another tip that I'll get to in a second. Why do I do PD every day? Because it raises my vibration. It gives me more energy. It helps keep me focused. And it's really good to write things down. If you're a pen to paper thing, like some days, like I took thinking into results a year ago, and I've done the 2 cycles. So I'm not doing it anymore, but I will pull it out, and I'll do a certain lesson. 2 weeks ago, I did a self-image lesson again. And then earlier this week, I did the goals lesson, the lesson 1, because I'm like, I need to clarify my goals. So I feel like I'm at a point now that I'm pretty good with that, but I still have to do a check-in once in a while. But I'm looking for other personal. Sorry. I'm looking for other personal development that'll, keep me going. So I listen to podcasts a lot, because I am a very slow reader, and I feel like I don't like to multitask a lot of the things I do, but I feel like if I'm listening to podcasts during certain things, I can. So getting ready in the morning, prepping my kids' lunches or breakfast while they're not around, because I don't like to listen to something if they're here. Running on the treadmill, I go for my lunchtime walks, I listen to PD, and it really, really kind of helps me refocus. And I've actually become a lot more calmer and focused on just in life in general, and being able to kind of move forward. Like, I used to be very squirrely, and I can still be, because it's part of my paradigm, and it's shifting, but it's still there. And I would try to do a lot of different things at once. And I used to say to myself, I can never get anything done because I've got too many tabs open. It's like having all the tabs open on your computer, right? So that goes into one of the other things that Fran touched upon, is focusing on one thing at a time. So when you focus on, let's say that's number 3, but I've actually have it written as number 5. So when you focus on, so every morning I wake up, I have my to-do list. If I didn't get a chance to do it the night before, I wake up and I write down what I need to get done that day. And then I prioritize my 3 IPAs that are like, I have to get these done today. So, and then if I get those 3 done, it's kind of like, yay me, pat on my back, I feel accomplished today. While I've just recently started listening to binaural, I think that's how you say it, beats on YouTube. So it's basically just focus music. And when I'm like sitting here at my desk and I'm going through my to-do list and I'm like, okay, I got to do this, this, this. I have my AirPods in and I'm listening to that. I feel so much more productive because it kind of signals my brain, okay, focusing on one thing at a time, it's time to get some work done. I'm very intentional about my time while I have those that music playing. So if you go to YouTube and you just put binaural or neural, I can't even pronounce it. I'll write it out. Beats, all sorts of ones would come up, and you could find one that would work for you. Yeah, so I also use a timer, or I'll watch the clock. I'll say, okay, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to do this task, especially if I'm engaging. So if I'm doing like a social, I call them social scroll, I'm going through Facebook and I'm trying to engage on other people's profiles, or I'm sending messages. I don't like to go back and forth. I just, do one thing at a time. I'll say, okay, I'm going to do it between now and now. And then I cut it off at that, because that you start scrolling, you could be scrolling for a half hour and you're like, oh, I didn't do anything for like the last half hour. So yes, focus on one thing at a time. Time blocking. Now this is where I'm coming back to my planning. I'm never a big planner. You would kind of think that's crazy because I am a teacher, but I was never a big planner as a teacher. And maybe that's why I don't know. Anyways, that's a whole other topic. But anyway, so I started time blocking because I need to be more intentional about my time. So I have a time blocker here that I write in pencil. So when you're time blocking, if you're interested, I can give you a blank sheet of this. I do have a PDF of that. I can drop in. I can drop it in when Courtney posts this in Team Canada, but I sit down on Sunday. So at some point today, and this is another thing, I'm trying to figure out the best time to work on this, is I'm going to block out my week. So the first thing you do when you're time blocking is you want to put in your joys. So that would be like hanging out with your family, your husband, friends, special events that are coming up. Even if it's working out, if that's something that brings you joy, you put that in. Those are the things that you schedule first. The second thing you're going to do are like your must do's, like the morning, getting ready in the morning, commuting to work, the times that you're at work. So I'll just write in school, and then I kind of just block it out. And then you'll have a bunch of squares open, and that's where you can pencil in when you want to work on what. So I do either it's engagement, I have content, or when I'm going to do a live, I try. And the reason why I use a pencil is because it doesn't always work out, right? So then you can kind of like, oh, I didn't get to that today. I'm going to move it till tomorrow. So you can kind of, change up your week as the week goes on, because life happens. So yeah, but it gives you a focus for the week. So then I'll also look, okay, what am I going to market this week? Because I do a monthly marketing plan. And there's weeks there I'm focusing a little bit more on recruiting, and there's weeks that I'm focusing a little bit more on selling. So right now I'm focusing a bit more on selling. It's the end of the month. I'll think, okay, well, last Sunday I decided, okay, I'm going to do a spring fever week. I'm going to give away a free Havana tank to anyone who orders this week. They get a ballot. They're going to get a free Havana tank, kind of generate a bit more sales. So every day I did like a different spring outfit or whatever. It was easy because it was warm. So I did some of mine, and then I would find some in the marketing group. So just stuff like that. And then you know what, if it works, it works. I even did a party in my VIP group like a couple of weeks ago. It was awesome. The engagement went up. It's a way that you can maybe potentially book parties with some of your VIP community. And like I said, I got I think over $1,000 in sales just in that week from my VIP group. So like these are things that, trial and error. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do this then. So when I look at my monthly marketing, I'll know what I'm doing. And then it helps you break down what you're going to do every week. And then you can schedule out your days when you're doing the time blocking. So that's what I do. And it becomes a habit. So the thing is, if you think about what you do every day, a lot of it is habits. So when you start doing something, at first, it's going to feel really weird and uncomfortable, and it does get easier, but you have to stick with it. So tracking, I'm starting to, like, I've been trying to track for about 3 months now, and I've hit or miss with it, but I'm going to keep going at it, because when you track what you do, it gives you information that kind of help you with the next week. So if I always give myself a monthly goal and a weekly goal, and I give my team a monthly goal and a weekly goal, and I share it with them. And I found since I started doing that, everybody is, has a bit more of a focus. So I don't know how well they're doing it on their own, like how they work, but you can give them ideas. You just, I think it's the saying, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink it, but it's still there, right? So so that's number 3, time blocking. And I started batching my activities, I guess you can say. So content, engaging, doing pictures, so that I'm not doing this every day. I use SynShare and it's been a friggin' lifesaver, honestly, lifesaver, for parties. And I use it in my VIP group as well. And I use it in my team page, and I use it on my business page as well. So what I like about that is I've switched things up, and I do a quote in my team group every morning, and I do one in my VIP page, because I can't come up with these really big posts first thing in the morning, even though I'm a morning person. It takes up too much time. So I've started doing that, and then I batch this on Sundays so that it's all ready to go. And then I save the post. This is what I like about SynShare, because yeah, you can schedule things on Facebook, but then it's gone. Or I guess you could put it, I don't know if you can archive it or not, but on SynShare, you can put inspirational quotes into an inspirational quote folder, and you can reuse content, in a month or 2 from now. And I reuse a lot of content, so that also saves myself a lot of time. Anyway, so SynShare, amazing. But yeah, so then as I'm planning out my week and I'm batching things in, okay, I'm going to do content here. Like at 4 o'clock, I usually come home and I'll work for about a half hour, because that's when I get home. It's 4 o'clock, because I'm commuting for now. And then in a few weeks, it won't be the same. I'll be closer to work. I'll be 5 minutes from work, with not 25 seconds like some people here. Anyway, so I'll have a bit more time, but I like to do a little bit. But by 5 o'clock, I'm kind of like, okay, I gotta flip back into mom mode, dinner, get the kids to wherever they need to go, homework, all that sort of stuff. And then depending on the time, I might do a live that night. I like to do lives on Thursday or Fridays in my VIP group. I'm trying to kind of establish a day and a time when I should do it, which is always good, because if you do that, then they'll expect you to be coming on. Like I've noticed Brianna has started doing her, she does a wine thing on Friday nights, I've noticed in her group, which is awesome. Like people expect that. Okay, it's Friday night. Brianna's going to be coming on soon. What is she going to talk about this week? They expect it, which is awesome. All right, so 2 more. Know when the best time for you, like when you work best. So Fran works best at night. I work really good in the morning, a little bit throughout the day, but like the morning really for me is the best time for me to work. So listen to your body is very important, because otherwise you're gonna be spinning your wheels. There's no point in sitting down and saying, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, but you're like all over the place. And you kind of have to say, okay, I'm gonna take a step back, I'm gonna go for a walk, or I'm gonna, do something else for a bit, and then maybe come back. So that's, instead of spinning your wheels for like an hour, do something else and then come back, and like kind of you could track to when you work best. So like I said, again, I'm in the morning. It's important to get I've noticed a difference when I eat properly, when I get enough sleep, which I don't always get enough sleep, when I exercise. I've started taking cold showers. There are many benefits of cold showers. Now, I don't take the whole shower cold. I turn cold at the end for about a minute. I was like 1 minute and 20 seconds today, and I can still feel my body tingling right now, and I've been energized. Look that up. It's actually really, really, really beneficial if you don't do that. Walking, whatever. So do what you need to do so that your mind is sharp, so that you're intentional with the time, is number 6. And the last thing I'm going to say, and this is so important, because as women, we always want to say yes to everything, but you need to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. I've had to cancel parties because I've been burnt out. I've had to take step back from my VIP group, or even my team at times because I felt burnt out. There is no point in having your hand in too many things, because then you're spread thin and you can't focus. You're not going to move forward. So you need to choose what your focus is on and just kind of go with that and say no to other things. So a saying that I've heard a while ago, and I've always say this, is when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So, and it kind of rang true to me for a while that I was saying yes to Zaya and spinning my wheels, wasting a lot of time, not time blocking, not batching posts, not focusing on one task at the time, not doing any of this stuff, to be honest with you. When I first started, even a year in, I was still like kind of all over the place. I was just starting to get in the groove. I was saying yes to Zaya, but I was saying no to my family, and that was hard. So once Serge told me, like, you have to stop, like this is getting to be too much, then I kind of pulled back and I reevaluated, and then I really dove in and just figured it out and figured out what I need to do to be successful in this business and to still have a thriving marriage and family. So very important, guys, to say yes to your family first. Sorry. Anyway, so it also affects people that you spend time with. I had to actually say no to a friend, or I had to set boundaries with her because I was feeling resistance towards her and I couldn't figure out why. And this ate at me for a while. And then I finally figured it out, is because she was too pushy. So if you have pushy people in your life always wanting to see you, and this is affecting me, it's affecting my family life, it's affecting my business, it's affecting our friendship. And these are really important things that, yes, kind of don't have something to do like with how to get a party or how to do things, but can totally affect your business if you're not saying no to things that don't align with you. And that was the whole point of why I think it's important that you have to learn to say no. As well, when you're doing your business, some tips that I've learned early on, some that I didn't learn until recently, is that turn off the notifications. If you have your notifications on, turn it off right after this, because then you're not responding, you're reacting. If you see messenger notification popped up from one of your clients or customers, don't respond, be like, okay, no, I'm going to go to that later. Well, no, you're going to know it's there and it's going to weigh on your mind, and you're going to be like, hey, what did they want? What did they want? What did they want? It's the same with me. So when I don't go check Messenger, I don't even open it up unless I am ready to respond right away. They call it the one tap method. If you're tapping into Messenger, you should be ready to respond to whatever messages that are in there. Because even if you kind of and I used to do this, I used to filter through my message. Okay, no, no, no. And I still do it at times. What I'm trying not to is, when you filter, you're filtering through, okay, well, that one can wait, that one can wait. Well, it's still in your head. It's there. It could weigh on you. You could be thinking about it when you're supposed to be spending time with your family, or you're supposed to be spending time with your husband or boyfriend or your friend or whatever. You want a clear mind. You want to be present with other people. You want to put Zaya aside. So that's one of the things I really suggest. Just turn off the notifications. If you have to put your phone in the other room, there's oftentimes I'll leave my phone down here and I'll go upstairs, or I'll go into the kitchen or whatever, and I'll just walk away from the computer. I don't leave my volume on the computer, because if I have Facebook open and you're hearing the ding, ding, dings like that, that affects you. It's like, oh, wonder who that is. What is that? Yeah, so that's it, I think. So basically the 7 steps, but I'm not going to go through them, is, whether you're a morning person or a night person, have a bit of a routine. I do have a night routine before I go to bed, but my morning routine is so much more stronger. Do some sort of PD every day. I cannot stress that enough. That has changed my life. That has brought me to where I am today. Not all the activities and Zaya, the actions did help, but if it wasn't for the PD, I would not be Zaya executive right now.
Nadia,
Yeah.
someone
Any
asked,
question?
how much time do you spend doing PD?
At least 20 minutes to sometimes an hour a day, but it's not like I'm sitting down in front of it for an hour. It's it's like I said, I'll mix it in with like folding laundry, or, you know, when I'm getting ready. I like these things, honestly, have been a godsend for me. I've had my AirPods since September, and I can put something on the computer, or I can put something on my phone. I can walk outside and I can still hear it, and I'm not attached. The phone is not attached to me. I can be getting ready in a robe in my bathroom and listening to I can dry my hair, put these on the noise canceling, and I can still hear what's going on. So that's how I utilize my time for PD, and I can get as much as I can.
You just listen? Do you, like, I have AirPods too, and they're the biggest game changer for me for sure. Like, I can like yesterday I went for a walk and I just needed to listen to stuff. So I'm totally for that. But do you take notes, or is it just solely listening?
I listen, and if I feel like I need to write something down, I'll pause it. And I have notepads all over the place. And I have something next to my bed. We have 2 stories here. So I have something down here, something upstairs that I'm like, oh, this is, you know, or I'll replay it if I want to listen to it. And sometimes I listen to the same podcasts over again, because when we were doing Thinking into Results, you listen to the same lesson for 2 weeks. So it's all about repetitive. So sometimes I'm either listening to the same type of podcast, or I'm listening to the exact same one over again, because you always hear something different the second, third, fourth time around. So if one really spoke to me, I'll listen to it in the morning and I'll listen to it again on my walk. So there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, like, write stuff down. It depends what it is. Like if I'm listening to one of Natalie Robinson's IPA calls, I usually like to put that onto the computer. And if I'm prepping supper, I'll just pause it and I'll write something down, you know, or that's when I find the ideas start flowing into my head and be like, oh, okay. So if I was out on a walk, I would just take out my phone and put in my notes. Pause it, put in your notes. That's the best thing to do. Time blocking, number 3, batching. Batching is really good. I'm still working on how to do that and figuring out how it works best, but I started doing that and it's been great. One task at a time. Know your kind of strengths and weaknesses, when the best time for you to work, when you need rest. Listen to your body basically, and definitely set some boundaries, guys, because without boundaries, this whole thing could explode. So that's all I got. That's all I got for right now. Does anybody have any other questions? When do you schedule time to answer your team? Oh, okay. When do I schedule time? So so that I'm still working on. I probably would do, I'd say 4 o'clock or late evening for that, but I'm not quite perfect at that yet. But to be honest with you guys, your personal businesses should always come first and foremost. Okay, team, we're important, but at the end of the day, we each individually have our own businesses. So what I've learned through the courses and what I've read, and I found 10% really kind of low, but I would say 10 to 20% of your time should be spent on your team, because yes, some teams generate a lot of money. So then you can kind of gauge or generate a lot of money, questions, depending on the size of your team, right? But you should always be doing your personal business first and then team later. So I would wait till later in the day unless it's absolutely pressing. But yeah, so one thing you could do is you can tell your team, okay, I'm available every day at this time. If you have a question, this is when you can answer. And that's why we have these like chats. We have like the leader chat. I have a dream team chat. I have now a dream team leader chat. Like these are important, because if it's a simple question that maybe somebody else can answer, then that's why you have these chats. If it's something that I would have to answer, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to try to start doing, is maybe like at a time a day. But like, if we're not putting our business first, and I'm not talking about sales, it's sales and recruiting and growing your team, because 3 months from now, half your team could say, you know what, I'm not into this anymore and I'm going to leave. And then who do you have in your healthy pipeline? Who do you have, coming up? If you're not always generating and engaging and moving your business forward, as far as like, talking to people and having people that are ready to sign up, people that are interested, your VIP clients, your clients that have bought like 1 to 3 things that you would like to move into your VIP Like these are things that we're always should be working on daily, because that's what moves your business forward. Team, unfortunately, it sounds bad, but should kind of be second to your business in that sense. But the amount of time is up to you. But yeah, that's what I would do. Very helpful. Yes, yes. Like it's very, you want to help everybody. You want to be there for everybody, but you really do have to be mindful of how much time you're giving, if it's taking away from family time, or if it's taking away from your time that you need to recharge. Like you just have to be mindful. And like sometimes I have to say no so I can say yes to something else, right? So all right, any other questions? Sorry, I'm like really babbling, guys. If you aren't taking care of your business, then you can't. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, by taking care of your business as well, by doing what you want your team to do, be the change that you want to see around you, right? So if you're doing your business and you're showing up and you're doing the parties and you're doing the reach outs and you're doing everything, they're watching you too. They're watching you and watching to see what you're doing, and you're kind of down in the trench. You should be down in the trenches with them. You should be down there. Like I may be what you may call the leader of my dream team, Courtney the leader of the Team Canada, but I've heard this before where I don't want to be I'm not the leader of it, or she's not the leader. We just founded these teams. We're all individuals, right? So we founded these teams, we help facilitate things, but we are a team that we can learn from our sidelines, our downlines, our uplines. It's not just us. So that's why these we're inviting a lot of other people, and anybody really can come on and do these trainings every Sunday, because you learn so much just by getting and chatting in front of people, and it builds confidence. So you don't want to always listen to us or or Aaron or Mallory or Van. Like we want our downlines to start doing these trainings. Like that's my vision, is to get the downlines like further down starting to share what they do best, because everybody does something really well, right? All right, sorry, I'm really, our job as leaders to create. Yes, that's all it is, Aaron, you're right. We are leaders in the sense of, a leadership role, but really everybody's a leader, whether you have 2 people on your team, you're on your own, or you have like 100, like we're all leaders in some form of the word. So we all have something to share too. All right, I think that's it. It's 11 o'clock. If there's no other questions, I won't babble on anymore. I'm sorry, guys, but no, hopefully all this between Fran and I has been helpful. And yeah, we start getting some more perspectives into these team trainings.
Here you go, Nadia.
All right, everybody, have a great Sunday. And we'll see you next week. Oh no, next week's Easter, I think.
Easter.
Like, yeah, no Easter, so 2 weeks, I guess. All right, have a great day, ladies.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Nadia.